We're here to idea everyone, to fire up your curiosity and connect you with the people and ideas that shape our world. Watch, listen, understand, connect, create. Let's move the human story forward together.
Hello and welcome to The Poetry of Science, a podcast which provides insight into new scientific research via the medium of poetry. I'm your host, Dr. Sam Illingworth, and each week I'll be introducing you to some of the latest scientific findings and sharing a selection of science-themed poetry. After all, we could all do with a little bit more poetry in our lives. In this episode, I'll be exploring new research which has found that blind people sense their heartbeats better than sighted people. Eyes close, yet the world opens. Senses heightened, ourselves perceived. The heart beats, the lungs breathe. The world is felt, the world is known. This poem is inspired by recent research published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology, General, which has found that blindness potentially leads to a heightened ability in feeling signals from the inner body. People who are blind or who have low vision often have better senses of hearing, touch and smell. This is because their brains are more flexible and can adapt to using information from other senses. This flexibility may also affect how people who are blind or have low vision perceive their internal organs. For example, they may be better at sensing their heartbeat or breathing. In this new study, researchers asked 36 blind and 36 sighted people to count their own heartbeats without checking their pulses or touching their body. At the same time, the researchers recorded the participants' actual heartbeats with a pulse oximeter. The researchers then compared the reported and recorded numbers to assess to what degree the participants were able to sense their own heartbeats. The results showed that the blind participants were able to sense their own heartbeats more accurately than the sighted participants. The blind group had an average score of approximately 0.78, while the sighted group had an average accuracy of 0.63, where the scale of 1.0 represented a perfect score. This research suggests that the brain's ability to change and adapt after blindness leads to a superior ability to sense signals from the heart, which has implications for the study of bodily awareness and emotional processing in blind individuals. Now that you've heard the science, let me read the poem to you again. Eyes close, yet the world opens. Senses heightened, ourselves perceived, the heart beats, the lungs breathe, the world is felt, the world is known. In this section of the podcast, I'd like to share a poem written by another poet on a topic related to the science that has been discussed so far. In this episode, I'll be reading A Blind Woman by Ted Kooser. Ted Kooser is an American poet and essayist who was born in Ames, Iowa in 1939. He is best known for his plain-spoken and accessible poems that often celebrate the beauty of rural life and the everyday experiences of ordinary people. Kooser served as the Poet Laureate of the United States from 2004 to 2006, during which he launched the American Life in Poetry project, which aims to bring contemporary poetry to a wider audience. Kooser has published numerous collections of poetry, including Delights and Shadows, which won the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry in 2005. A Blind Woman by Ted Kooser. She had turned her face up into a rain of light and came on smiling. The light trickled down her forehead and into her eyes. It ran down into the neck of her sweatshirt and wet the white tops of her breasts. Her brown shoes splashed on into the light. The moment was like a circus wagon rolling before her through puddles of light, a cage on wheels as she walked fast behind it, exuberant, curious, pushing her cane through the bars, poking and prodding, while the world cowered back in a corner. Thank you for listening to the Poetry of Science.
Thank you very much for being with us for this episode of the ideaXme Show. ideaXme is a global platform. Our mission is to move the human story forward by sharing knowledge of the future. You can find us on all major audio networks at www.radioideame.com, on YouTube and Vimeo. Please subscribe.